Yo, 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 what's good, y'all? I am OMA, one who may ascend. Today we are doing a reaction video to Ascending. Go ahead and start recording this. I think it's okay. Yeah, so today we're gonna do a reaction video to Ascending. It was our first project, our first official mixtape we released 10 years ago. Can you think about that? 10 years. It's our debut mixtape. Wasn't like professionally done or anything like that, just kind of casual experience, just like my first, recording experience officially and everything. This is a very personal project to me. It means a lot to me. Like I said, we did this 10 years ago. I was about like 19. I was just starting to express myself as an artist. The time frame, it was about a 2-year time frame that I spent writing this. I started actually writing lyrics about like age 14. Then I felt like I started getting good at it around like 16 or 17. So all of this that was, written and everything, it took time, between that time frame, between the time I was like 17 to like 19. And then by the time I was 19, it was actually released. So like I said, this is the 10-year anniversary. We're gonna go ahead and do a reaction, 10 years later in the making to this whole project. We'll see how it goes. This is a very, like I said, a personal project. This means a lot to me. Just to throw out a disclaimer, I definitely don't. How do I say, relate or agree with all of the content that was expressed in this project, but I do feel like it was necessary to share for historical purposes, to show like my state of mind. It's almost like a time capsule, like you bury it, and you come back and revisit it. I feel like it's important to show my psychological development and just, personal development over the course of the years and how I've come to, be who I am today, so I feel like this is a very interesting and important experience, not just for myself, but also, you all as the audience. So we can have a mutual understanding of each other, how far we've come, our journey, so forth and so on. I'd definitely be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that I was having a conversation with the homie Ramiro. Shout out to Ram, Adrian back home in Dallas and everything like that. We talked about faith and Christianity, and it's interesting because I definitely started as a Christian rapper, so like that's not where the name One Who May Ascend came from per se, specifically, but it was just derived, OMA, from my original name, Omari Malik Amin, OMA. And then when the homies in college just came up with it, it was like, you are OMA, One Who May Ascend, So I was like, that's dope. And over time, over the months, the years that ensued, I just developed that into what I believe, it should mean. So go ahead and get started here by reading the author's note, which I wrote, like I said, 10 years ago. During the 2-year writing period for Ascending, I only wrote what I felt, documented in more realized form, appealing to listeners. I'm just reading through it here, and I'll probably address this again. Just make a side note, an aside here. Ascending was broken down into 3 categories. The first, maybe a couple of songs or so, and I'll indicate to you, where the breakdown is. But the first couple of categories we called Words of War. The second was A Tale from the Dark Side of the Moon, and then the third category was called Detour. So what did I write here? More appealing to listeners. Yeah, there was no end in mind, no concept of the best 3 albums in a single mixtape. There wasn't even the title Ascending. Only the reoccurring theme of life as I envisioned it, illustrated by what I was going through. At the time when I was writing Words of War, I was a I was a 4-year diehard, unfaltering believer in the Christian faith. I slowly but surely came to the realization that not all Christians' levels of involvement was identical, more than reflecting a much more tame lifestyle than that of the radical Jesus Christ whom I believed changed my life. This troubled me greatly. Thus, Tales from a Dark Side of the Moon was born, an in-depth perspective analyzing not only life and my faith, with the still all-present hint of what I would have been willing to do for Christ given dire circumstances, but the purposeful examination of life without my faith. I feel like it's important to address a couple of things here. When you're creating depth in a relationship in like any capacity, you have to examine like what the converse relationship of that would be, without that specific relationship, with let's say like a void, in your life, and that creates a level of depth. You can't have again, it's probably a damn near a famous quote of mine by now, but you can't have light without darkness. And I say that, in one of these songs, and vice versa. So you have to know both sides to appreciate either one of them, and again, in all capacities. So continuing here, as any worthy artist will tell you, over time, as you meditate on the effect of the subject matter of his or her art, the more subject matter has a direct effect on them. The result of this ongoing process and the ever-changing reality of life produced Detour, the evolution of Tales from the Dark Side of the Moon, documentation of an extra, unexpected journey changing the course of my life. The main event being not the abandoning of my faith in Christ altogether, but rather its postponement, whether temporary or permanent. To this day, I'm analyzing to whether or not I believe this next statement. I'm just going to go ahead and say it, and then gonna consider it here in a second. To this day, I'm still not quite sure of the cause to drop my cross, other than the fact that lack of necessity has something to do with it. Thinking about that here. I would say if I had to guess, I think I could put, a finger close to it. And I don't think it has to do with lack of necessity. I feel like, so there's this one quote that I like to live by. It's, sometimes on your way to a dream, you get lost and find a bigger one. And I feel like my purpose has just grown. This is an interesting thought to have. It's hard to say if it's grown beyond Christianity, my purpose, or no. I think that's fair. I actually do think that's fair. I think my purpose in life has grown beyond Christianity. It can't be constrained. I just feel like life in all aspects, in all capacities, is bigger than, one, adhering to one, specific faith. So that's what I would say. The concept of Detour was that we all have an imminent destiny in life, which we will reach, and whether favorably or otherwise, we will indeed reach it. The detours in life are only the periodic stops between now and then. In essence, the final product, Ascending, is the depiction of a young man's struggle with the meaning of life as well as his place in it. Something appropriate for this generation, and as bizarre as the ideas and content presented in this mixtape may seem, they are not far-fetched from the truth, if not my most sincere attempts toward it, the real goal. It's quite noble. Quite noble. I hope that you enjoyed this journey of life as much as I have so far, for now and for years to come. Thank you. And when I wrote this, and this is why I titled it The Best of OMA, because I didn't expect to be here like too much longer, honestly, and knock on wood, who knows, may not have been far off, so I think this is very interesting, quite noble, and looking forward to getting into it. I think this might be a good stopping point here temporarily. I don't know, what do you think? Are we still good, or should we switch over?
Let's pause it, and then we'll switch over. Just want to make sure because it's already 10 minutes. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe it won't let me while this box is here. So maybe I do need
You
to
gotta record.
hit record first and then switch over. Okay.
I already started recording here.
Okay. Starting off on bad foot here. No, okay, let's go. So before I even start with this first track, it is important to note that this was taken from, and I do have to mention my influences on probably each of these songs, but also like each section of the whole project as well. So the first section was heavily influenced by Immortal Technique, Jedi Mind Tricks, hardcore hip hop. And that was like almost exclusively like all I was listening to at the time, like really underground. Eventually later in the project, I started listening to, say, Cannabis and Del the Funky Homo Sapien, and then say Kid Cudi and Kanye, and you'll be able to tell the influences, and Eminem as well later down the road. You'll be able to tell the influences. I'll do what I can to make a note, hereafter, again. But so like this first song was The Prophecy by Immortal Technique. That's where the beat came from. And I was like, yo, this is so dope. Gotta rap over this. But it was my personification. It's called The Blade. That's the name of the first song in the project. It's called The Blade. It was my personification of a weapon of war, for God. It's like it was really a jihad. Like that's really what it was, And what was I gonna say? The Blade. So I think it was really derived from. There's this. I have to see which verse in the Bible it was, but Jesus said, "I did not come to bring peace, not peace, but a sword." So that's where this song was heavily inspired. The Blade, words of war. So I'm gonna go ahead and get into it. We'll see if I have any comments or anything. I'll just go ahead and pause it. But other than that, we're just gonna vibe out here and see what all comes to mind.
Once upon a time I was forged from the Lord. I've always drank the proven. My worth is a sword. Instead of my current best position.
Really like the flow of this. I think this is probably the best song on this part of the album. I think this track still goes hard for me. Producing cinder ash in the clash. I open the gas, using adversary's blood to cleanse the grass. I'm the last to flash a light. Quite before you pass. I am the hopeless, turning corpses heartless, burning the forces of darkness with the pity for those more in the fortress's carcass. I don't take no form of no mess. Beating, bleeding vines to formless grotesque, but I don't know best. I am the inanimate object with gigantic prospects. Is anything that runs, I need the motor. I double-edged a couple heads, but strengths in the arms of the beholder. So I am no good unless in the hand of my owner, which is why I don't side with evil people. I be much more lethal with that free will, or after I will fight with the master, no matter the circumstances, independent of certain answers. I'm not done till body organs put on the canvas. Out in the field, I could be killed or hanged, but I refuse to feel the pain. I won't be the blade that the Lord will divine. Trying to carry out the Lord's commands with zeal. I've been drilled. I'm the wielded iron. That's probably my favorite line on this. I'm the wielded iron with the iron will. But at the core of my being, I am entrusted with my duty, then bust with the Uzi. Not to be taken loosely, therefore I do what I'm told, and do it wear and tear with the usual hold. Roots made of metal, I don't say what the fuck makes me special. Words of the vessel can't be credible. Glory and not, give all my glory to God. My life story, my job. I am the guardian, slicing dice in the arms and limbs. I never eat, never sleep, except a who rabbit creeps that they mean malice to my master's palace. There'll be no remains left for the vulture, the rabbit, your savage. Haven't you seen hits of men that look like hits of cabbage? I take the break, although I like to slay my brains be twice a day. I become dull. That's where I really started getting like my flow on. Before this, I had like no flow. I think I messed up here.
Yeah, once my own arrow hit, pitch don't go
Sounds like you're freestyling.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Definitely wasn't. This is all written.
Really?
Definitely all written. I think my favorite part is coming up here at the end. Right here. Oh no, here it is. Art of my task when I first embarked on my path. I recall as I start to be slashed at the mark of my past. Gets me ripped apart by the wrath until cold and dark in a bag. I was on my shit back then. Man, I was in a whole different frame, state of mind. Like, nobody could talk to me really. Like,
my worth is a sword.
Like really, like I didn't smile. Like when I did smile, like my face would hurt from smiling. Like never did it. This one is called I Salute.
I salute my soldiers that you're possessing the candy sense to smell the sense when the scent of fear are nearby. Dark sharks smelling fresh blood a mile away. Start yelling unless you want to decay as pound of fish fillet. They do what they want and they mean what they say. Fighting for honor and dignity, they abide by these laws, valuing what they believe in. They die for the cause, improve the design upon finding the flaws. There's will be a blind
basically about respecting anybody who's like really about what they say they are.
Speak the truth and follow through. Seek the root and call it loot. Learn life lessons, have stories to tell. Aren't afraid to say it's glory in hell. Proceeds without proceeds that succeed when others worry they fail. They excel. Blessed the poor in spirit, for theirs the kingdom of heaven. Blessed those who mourn, they will be confident. Blessed the meek.
Obviously, like these subtitles aren't exact. You know, they're pretty close.
I salute my soldiers that don't waste food or wine. Look at the jugular vein as something to slip from behind. Masterminds that have passed the time in the infinity infantry grinding behind enemy lines with bulletproof gaps locked and loaded even nines. Despite hard times, to find themselves into divine power.
We're getting rough when the going gets tough.
Put you down in the dirt when you show your stuff, not slowing them much. You could be holding a grudge, feeling those flips of slugs, don't even budge. Rather take a broken neck than be alive in submission. When they arise from condition, each will become a spy on a mission. Take no heed to the lies of the mention. After drawing blood, they draw eyes of attention. And not to the human skins they wear when they decide to rocket from the rose that arose with the sidewalk split.
I remember I said that to the homies when I was showing them this song. After drawing blood to draw eyes of attention, like that's the coldest thing I've ever heard.
Bless those persecuted for righteousness' sake and killed us the frauds. I salute my soldiers that go the higher road in the uphill battle and get the heat.
These are like all YouTube beats, pretty much. Pretty much all of them.
Cutting corners and doing enduring tortures, keeping in mind the high stakes at hand to take a stand for the sake of their fellow man. Then bounce back after major minor rounds attack. Suffer but serve, protect, live and kill for each other. Treasures anything and everything out of the ordinary. Don't require glory, fame, money, power, respect, or authority. By sewing weapons and arms of fear and inventory. Nothing short of legendary. Conduct themselves professionally. Knowing won't kill those make them stronger. And you'll kill them if they act fake.
And I would just write these songs, like song after song. After, like I had a off period in high school.
The light of the world.
And instead of going home, like I would just stay in the Jeep, you know, and just write songs.
So that they may see your good works and good glory to your Father in heaven.
The Mist of the Assassin. They have this one crazy rhyme pattern on this song, and there's a mistake in this song as well. I'll be sure to mention both of those. This isn't my favorite one, but I do like that rhyme scheme.
Face to the floor, expels, acknowledges the grace of the Lord, for he is well aware that his faith is the door, allowing him to escape and raise his sword to awake from his prison. So from here on, he will never break this commission. Enemies turn chicken, seeing the thanks he's been
Here it
given.
is,
Yet
the rhyme
there
scheme coming up right
seems
here.
to be another mission.
Give it a tip in the sleep, can't miss a beat. X quits his teeth, there's the beat. Quick on his feet, preparation for the fifth hit this week. Hold his shit indiscreet to unload. Clips in the street, whips out the heat. Drop one gun, switch, then repeat. Silhouettes of darkness, blitz of retreat. X imagine what's fixing the beat. Give mixed to the grief, a gift to the chief, and it shifts to belief.
Fearing God only. If the ultimate soldier appears, X maintains weapons he's gained over the years. This agent uses his head to store quotes and statements. As for the arms, he stores below in the basement. Safekeeping through anything X may be needed. Easy access to go and get when the time is appropriate. Choice of the wider rate, slice and slay from lesser threats that conquer 2 rocket launchers. Better yet, he won't encounter any enemy.
I was just really trying to paint a picture, like almost like a cinematic, song.
Can't smell the rain. It would never quell the hellish flaming and all that will prevail is the name. Learn the lessons of weapons, you need not be alarmed when God's warrior is properly armed. X is now prepared for the battle. He brings light through the darkness where we travel. So if you don't know better than not to laugh, then I strictly advise you stay the fuck off this path. In the wood stake lies deep in weight. X sees the estate, determines its fate and its plans of escape. Ready to seize the front gate. The guards have seized as of late. Their armor may be state of the art, but the Lord tells X how to take it apart straight from the start. Plus, the enemy's troops are feigning the heart. Skirmish before the skirmish. Each takes a headshot evenly placed. Takes the cases, victims bleed in the face. They're breathing with haste, but the marksman must keep up his pace. So this is right here is where I made the mistake. I should have gone longer with the gunshots and everything. I started too early. I started like 2 bars too early. And you'll be able to tell because it would end right on time, but watch at the end. I end like 2 bars too early. The scene seems to be at its norm, except this is just the quiet before the storm. Suddenly, once again, he waits for the swift gust of wind. The only audible sound when X dusts him in. As the sword juts in, the exposed features of the guts are grim. And with 2 hacks, he cuts the limb. It's not his blood pouring from his hands, so all is going according to plan. X knows that the deadliest guys have got nothing to lose, something to prove, and are ready to die. The truth never lies. Aside from Renai makes the whole world blind as these men in their lives.
As many of y'all know, I'm highly influenced on like comic book culture. I like The Punisher. I like Deadpool, Blade. So this is really what I was trying to convey in this song, in the midst of the assassin, basically. Like a comic book character, basically, but for God. So today I could appreciate the creativity of it. Again, not my favorite song, but I admire the nobility of it, the effort, and the creativity.
Body floating blood, guns sink to the seafloor. X no head, they twitching, trapped with C4, blocking the exit of boss man's trap door. Murky red waters, splish splash. The boss searches for escape in the wake of the riffraff, so he moves X's body. Pull here, tug there, trying to get away from the door. Drug clear, then everything goes from bad to severe. Decapitated vessels and mirrors see more than what appears. Boss man thought X was done, but didn't check his gun. Mistake made, but it won't be made twice. X detonated the explosive device. Lost head don't mean instance of defeat, because in this instance it means mission complete.
And this is where the song should end, but it's like 2 lines too long. Like if I started later in my verse, it ends right here. Oh, this is Warpaint. This one is. Were you a good time or what? Yeah.
Like 13 minutes.
Cool.
14.
This one is really gruesome. This is Warpaint.
Yeah. This is for my legion, my protect, undeceived with every breath that I breathe.
I think this one has really good pacing.
My family, with the air, fire, land, the sea, I know they stand for
in regards to flow.
This for those who
this isn't a bad hook, all things considered. I was just starting to write like hooks and choruses at this point. I think this was some of people's favorite part of this part of the project.
The blood rush prepares me. to be returned to the ashes and prosperity.
See, I kind of took my time with the pacing and the flow.
My way of giving all I've got to fulfill my deeds, laying down my life, not spraying blanks is my way of saying thanks. It's hard to be ungrateful when you're protected by your guardian angel. I'm forever grateful for being taken in. As one responsible for my own death, this is how I make amends. Take a walk in my shoes, break them in. If you got the idea, I won't refuse, but choose to lose, think again. God is too good for me to drop my eyes on the prize. I'm surprised I'm alive when I should have died, but by the nighttime, I won't survive. This is for my lead, you my protect, undeceive.
See, my issue with this whole project is just like a lack of depth, a lack of perspective, you know, especially at that age, that time in my life. You know, it's like, it's just an air of privilege to it, you know, that I just can't, it's just difficult for me to ignore at this stage of my life.
In my brother's eyes, I see faint tears. I'm sure he sees the same in mine. The war paint smears and abrasion from our faces. We embraced and let go. Never thought I would, but we get on with the show. We're just these pawns, barely strong enough to maintain these bonds. Final stand, so in our mind we're already gone. Spirit at a steady calm, deadly arms clasped tight inside a sweaty palm. So just take a breath, soldiers. We fight for the same thing like a fence chain linked as death approach us. You fear we die here, I'm here cause you here. You like what I like, I fight cause you fight. You need what I need, I bleed cause you bleed. Truthfully, we've risen high because on these principles we live and die. I know for you as I, when your blood is leaking, that's about the same time happiness seeps in. This is for my lead, you my protect, undeceive with every breath that I breathe. This is for my family.
It's just like very idealistic.
This is for those who arose, chose rose to be those.
That's what I was on though back at the time.
This is for my dream, one king, shunting, hear them scream. The paint on my face smears by the bloody metal. The disfigured body on the ground, he was a rebel. It's not like it's a new scene. He was in clear violation, and he knew the routine. As well as I, fellas live, fellas die for telling lies, sticking nail inside. Each does his duty, kill the high water. It don't matter if all you got's a foot. If you have so many arms, you look like an octopus, because we have the shield. And there's more in any one of us than the biggest weapon on the battlefield. What confidence do you have when your blood splashing spills? Knowing your man not coming back, what you gonna do? Yeah, talk that smack, woo, woo, woo. If the fact we're destined to die isn't letting your life, a
lot of this is like really cringe.
I'm not afraid when blood comes.
It's really hard for me to listen to.
My ancestors' way. This is for my lead, you my protect, under siege with every breath that I breathe. This
documentation though, historical documentation. I think this it's therapeutic for me, you know, to see where how far I've come in my development, and artistically, personally, you know, ideologically, I think that's the word. Really interesting. I just hope the next 10 years, when I'm reflecting on my work now, you know, it won't be as cringe. Might have some moments, but yeah, this one is even tougher to listen to. It gets better though. It gets better, trust. Battle scars.
Jealous of room for bullet graders. Two what's left of the moon. Don't you see what's hidden here? Crystal clear, glistening like obsidian, and the night was full of secrets. So lend an ear and listen in. You'll learn more than why we fear. An example is why those who don't are highly revered. The scar of the blade grenade, it might be a spear that
really interesting production on this one.
The fist reins of the wrist, flesh lightly seared. Telling stooges to move it, to lose it, I'm ruthless. You could tell from my many bruises. Any bruises of yours finna be useless. You jabbers and nooses, you couldn't imagine the stabbings and nooses. You disrespect those who risk the next, you refuse it. You know got the nerve to dispute it, you're clueless. To think the one who walks away in the fight isn't the one who loses. Toothless, but to fight back is what he chooses. Instead he don't forfeit. And still isn't done after he's got something to show you on with.
Like this breakdown.
Winning in the beginning may start sweet. Battle wage through the ages gets
Again, still learning to write hooks.
There was no time when the enemy is never slashing, but yet suffering is infinitely everlasting. Arms, hands, legs, and faces are perfect places for a future scar. Man in the mirror today, cough in the mark. Have you got what it takes to be a shooting star? Of course, if you keep purpose and faith in who you are. This for those who walk the walk and talk the talk. That's just to show perpetual perpetrators just gotta go. This is the tale of endurance for curious who sell their insurance for reassurance that they too will smell of the pureness. Well aware that the cure is a higher purpose to inspire searches of desires beneath the surface. Who don't relax because they're sore or worn, a war torn since the slither is just a scratch on the sword. God's will is permanent, it doesn't come to go like your permanent endurance. Not allowing circumstances touch your growth. The stronger is the one who doesn't have the two people to stop the both. And the predicament and didn't become a rock adult when darkness befalls. You just have to take it. It's only as bad as you make it. Winning in the beginning may start sweet. Battle wage through the ages get you a faint heartbeat. There was no time when the enemy is never slashing, but yet no suffering is infinitely everlasting. Arms, hands, legs, and face are perfect places for a future scar. Man in the mirror today, coughing the mark. Have you got what it takes to be a shooting star? Of course, if you keep purpose and faith in who you are. The unwritten legislation of foretold glory.
Just one more verse.
Casing, point the weapon that hasn't bled the base, and there's no more than a mere decoration. Unchanging spirit through both days and next year's seasons helps the process for what counts most as experience. In the name of the Lord, I'll be stabbed and drugged, only to be ever purified again by my bath of blood. While I still go flame, see this the shit. See that I get no gain, being ripped to pieces and bits. All my pieces just lit before the great day.
Very fascinated by death. I don't think that has changed. I think I'm going to address that here in a second too, while we take a break.
Not accepting their offer, but that of the Father. Now that I've conquered, the warmth of my blood is my only calm.
Went from getting killed to killing people.
We're slashing, but yet no suffering is infinitely everlasting. Arms, hands, legs, and faces are perfect places for a future scar. Man in the mirror today, coughing the mark. Have you got what it takes to be a shooting star? Of course, since you keep purpose and faith in who you Besides the moon is out the light. No foreigners, no exceptions. Any ignorance, no acceptance. Acceptable stats from true expecting. Unsuspecting. Successful therefore and no circle protection. No cellular connection on the wane in question. You say it's useless is to take refuge in this greatest truant shit. Along the ruthlessness of free but greater fugitives. Yeah, this lunar lunatics, both with green fluid, just more oozing it.
Besides one life to live, what I got to lose in it?
It's so a power because they're not gonna live forever, even in quadrant 3 sector.
Here, I'm starting to realize and address my privilege here.
Savage life satellites, certainly more than just a mirror hologram. Only in adversities, uncertainties can I be aware of all I am. Why your saucer, not involved, banish the damaged planets until I fully manage to vanish. Look at ya, what's got me now? It's one extra moment, not you can learn something, y'all.
About to stop it here.
Exploding to ridiculous injury percentages. And it sends the crossroad and pulls a minister to the end of your expenditure.
And what, part 2?
Yeah, here in a second.
Yeah. Know the path of lightning. Even if I shoot the moon and miss a land amongst the stars. Think next I visit Mars.
Without darkness, there be no light. Yeah, so that's a lot, huh? That's tough. It's very, very gruesome. Yeah, I don't know really much else to say about that. It's still this fascination, with death. Why is that? Even still today, that hasn't really changed. And I think there's a lot to be said in that regard. I always want to keep death in perspective, because with death, you have perspective of life, and there's that much more emphasis to put your life into perspective and to accomplish the goals and tasks and everything that you have for your life, as opposed to we might forget about our mortality or lack depth and perspective, like, no, this is finite, it's to not take your life for granted, and that's why I talk so much about death. That's why I have this fixation on it, because without that, we would just be like stagnant and apathetic, so that's why I really maintain a focus on that. Especially at this time, I was studying a lot of Bushido, that's the art of the samurai. I was studying stoicism, chivalry, a lot of these philosophies, that do emphasize, the importance of maintaining depth as a perspective. And I still, even to this day, like, I meditate on my death, because that it puts everything in perspective. It makes sure you don't take no life for granted. You don't want to leave anything on the table. You want to just let it all out, so even still today, that has not changed. I still maintain that philosophy 100%. So that does conclude the first third of the project, Words of War, at about 20 minutes long. We're going to start getting to A Tales from the Dark Side of the Moon. This next track coming up here is called Testament of Hopelessness. It's still very dark, and I think this is very appropriate for us to pause here and talk about death for a second, because that's what this song is about. Guess what? That's what the next song is about. Are you surprised? So this one is about suicide. And my ideas at the time as to why, that is an issue, and ultimately I come to the conclusion that it's because of a lack of purpose, and today I have more of an understanding of what purpose is. I believe our purpose is found in other people and what we can do to help other people. I may have not said that so eloquently maybe 10 years ago, but that is my belief. And I feel like fundamentally, like, we all know these things. We may forget time and time again, but internally at our core, we all, come with this type of self-awareness. We may not choose to focus on it, but I do believe, that is the case. Now, before we get into this title, Testament of Hopelessness, it was actually derived from a book we were reading in class in high school at the time. I think it was by Martin Luther King, or inspired by Martin Luther King, called Testament of Hope. And I wasn't really into school all too much, I was good. I don't even know how I would describe what the kind of student I was back in high school. It's like I was in all of the really smart classes, but it's hard to say I never did my work. I would do my work, and I would do like all the extracurricular activities and everything. I don't know. I was more interested in learning about people and meeting people. I would go to like random people and go and meet people that I didn't know just because I didn't know them. It's like really weird, but like, I don't know, weird in a good way, like I was friends with like all kinds of people, like whether it's the nerds, the athletes, the gangsters, like the misfits. I just go meet people, like, I don't know you, like, what's up, and I'll probably just start like rapping to them or just listening to them talk, and they would kind of be weirded out by it, and I just keep on moving. I think I coined a term for what I was at the time. I forgot. Like somebody that doesn't like really fit into like anything, but like can go and like a wild card. That's the word I'm looking for. I was kind of like a wild card, you know. And I'd meet all these people, and you know, we'd have some kind of a relationship, but it was never like a deep or intimate, you know, relationship. It was all kind of like shallow, and I just kind of feel like, you know, in regards to all other capacities in my life, I feel like it's still kind of that way too. It's really interesting, you know, but I don't really know how to describe that, and I don't think there's like really a paradigm that describes the kind of character that I was back in high school either, you know. So I don't know what to do with that information, but I just thought that was interesting. So yeah, Testament of Hopelessness. Let's get into Tales from the Dark Side of the Moon.
Your sorrows, take all the drugs they got, but bitches you please,
back up here a little
won't make you happy. Don't feel sorry for yourself, cause all most pricks.
Just a little bit. Come on, let me back up. That's cool. I really like the flow on this. I feel like I was listening to Eminem at the time. I remember I was listening to Eminem for sure. Because I remember the friends that I showed it to, and they're like, wow, that was amazing. And they don't just say that about anything. You know, we were like music snobs, you know. We like thought we had like good standards high standards for music. We actually have a music video of this song. I think this is like really where my lyrics started connecting and being more substantial. Like, I'm actually like talking about something here, you know, something that real people deal with. It's more like down to earth. I like this part here. Where my choices? You running out of options. I'm no rotten. If there's a pill popping alternative, I'll turn to it. Still talking now, your chance while there's a deal knocking. Still no real hook, you know. That's how I would take songs. I'll just run them through. This is where I started questioning faith. Subtitles are doing a really good job right now. I'm very impressed. Cause a basket makes a flow container for water. It's no foreigner, so it's rain to flow. Not a drop of staying broken China. You hoping, trying to get where faster, climbing the stairmaster. Oh my God! In the box covered in this box, I've been the blotch on this earth since birth. So I'm sending shots through my hands. Somebody got the I'm at a loss. A loss of words which describes my condition. The loss of purpose, which the symptom of hopelessness emerges. You gonna do it? You all talk. One day I might just... Okay, I think that's the last really dark song. I like this one, Shades of Grey. It's probably one of my most lyrically dense songs, especially at the time. I think I started listening to like Cannabis around this time. Probably Cannabis and Eminem. And then there were like all of those YouTube rappers. My flow is kind of crazy on this stuff. The flow, so I was in like spelling classes in high school, and we would like learn words, we would learn the definitions, we would learn like how to spell. It was just an extracurricular I had, and you could see like how I started implementing all of my superfluous vocabulary into my music. Even unnecessarily. I think the second verse is my favorite. Is coming up here, but see, this is a hook, and I'm like still haven't learned to write hooks. You know, like a hook was just another like short verse for me. Here we go.
Step on into the wet cement. Commonest consequence on the fence. Saluting absolutely obsolete statutes in desecration by concrete means. When excess of
The masses who don't assess the obsession of obsessions. In essence, to full extent, they express confessions, lessons from conformity, formula, formally, a form of deformity, get you the direction of what the normal be. I showed kids in high school that they're like, oh shit. Kids in in college. I showed them this in college, and that was their reaction. In high school, like kids like weren't really fucking with it, you know. So I thought that was interesting. That's where I was like, that's why I started to begin to realize my target demographic. You know, it's not music for everybody. Let's see, this is the hook though.
As we bend and break in the grave, cause though it's not implied with light and dark collide, neither of the six sides explicit that is coincide. So any septics ain't expected, even schizophrenic skeptics, sketchy and directed clear.
The subtitle's still a little bit off. They're doing pretty well though. If y'all want full lyrics, I could get y'all full lyrics for these if y'all are interested.
Prosperous, you know the purpose, telling ostriches oliveness when honchos are held hostages. I'm no
Head honcho, yeah.
In the badness, I think the tinted glasses meant for malice, right before we tips the balance. But you don't put your head where the worms enclosed, with nowhere to turn for you who express your concern. With you I sympathize.
See, a little more depth, a little more introspection, a little more self-awareness.
But you could bend the size if
you can see the transition of my growth, like from one section of the project to the next. I remember sharing Tales from the Dark Side of the Moon to my friends before transitioning into college from high school. And they're like, this seems so much more like you know, like a personality or, you know, your actual character, as opposed to like indoctrination, you know, that I had in the words of war. The social construction. I like the end here. See, we started getting a little bit more creative with our songs and everything. Inspect it carefully. Inspect it. Inspect it. I really like the beat on this one too. My favorite song I probably ever written here, A Tale from the Dark Side of the Moon. This is the introduction. This one really means a lot to me. I think I need to pause for the cause on this one. How are we looking on time?
32 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. This song really means a lot to me. I've detailed this before previously in one of our recent episodes on our YouTube channel about, you know, my favorite songs of myself. And I'm not just gonna go ahead and reiterate everything that I said on there, but this one really means a lot to me. I wrote this, I think, in March. I was 17, I think, at the time. I think in junior in high school, or I think I was a senior in high school. I wrote this in March. I think this is still very relevant, you know, in who I am today. You know, this song, and like I said, it wasn't the most, you know, sonically pleasing, but I do feel like it was just very honest in my perspective and enlightening as well, you know. So it's like a space odyssey kind of thing, you know. So this one really means a lot to me.
Stars wonder what's out there. Who lives there?
Right here, the intro. I was asked if I was influenced on that intro by Eminem's Lose Yourself. And at the time I said no. Now I don't know how true that was. I don't think I was intentionally being deceitful. But I don't know. It's a possibility. Sometimes I'll be inspired and I won't even be able to know where my influences came from. Like, I know this was heavily influenced by Cannabis, Del the Funky Homo Sapien. My lyrics on this is so crazy. It's just one big analogy for self-exploration in a space format. Look at ya. What's got India? That's what everybody will always be saying in college. Look at ya. I really love the production. Shout out to DJ Frank Brayner on the sound engineering back at the time. This has 4 verses. I actually had to loop the instrumental twice so it could fit. I had a lot to say and a lot of things that weren't included, you know, but there was a lot to say on this song because I was figuring out who I was. I was actually documenting the process of understanding who I was at the time in real time. Like, play this song at my funeral. So far, you know, if I do something better that I feel is better, but until then, not to say that I peaked as an artist. I'm definitely a much better artist, better songwriter, you know, branding, but just the integrity of this song, like, it still demonstrates, it's still very relevant, and not just my life, but I feel like all encompassing. I still rehearse and practice this song today. Like, if I had to give one song to describe who I am as a person, like, it would be this song. We also have a lyric video of this song as well.
No weapons found, those who I told him, you know what, I just want to know a bit about your culture, no bomb strap, them inside contracts, my first contact, look at you, what's got in you been told it's too late, check the temperature, attempt to come expose and explode into your globe, it's just exposure and increase injury percentages, and in the sense the crossroad that blows are a menace to the end of your furniture. Ain't no surviving, riding, I boast my toast and I ride up the gloom and
Alright, so this next song is the beginning of the third, final section of the project, I believe. I think so. And this is called Rehabilitation. So this song, I wrote this, I was going through some things. Right? I was like, yeah, so this one I wrote, I think this is the beginning of the songs that I wrote after high school and into college. I went to school for like 2 years. My first year was at TAM-UCC, Texas A&M Corpus Christi. And so this is when I started, you know, writing there. All of this project from here on will have taken place then. I wrote this song because I was upset with like my friend group and everything. I was like the man, you know, and then I had like a fall from grace, and I just kind of had to recalibrate, and figure out the things that I wanted, the direction that I wanted to go in my life, and regain perspective, So that's really what this song is about. It's again, relearning how to not give a fuck, and how to, you know, confront social, social constructs, you know. So that's what this song's about, rehabilitation. There's a lyric video of this one here as well. So we're gonna go ahead and get into this one. Yep, first part of Detour. And we call it the first part of Detour because this song was definitely more selfish, I would say. It's like the beginning of selfish OMA. It's not talking about too much deep introspective. It's like me. It's about me. It's not about God, Christ, you know, and or affecting the community. No, this song's about me. So that's rehabilitation.
Don't start in the day. My heart started beating the day, and it all started eating away. I need sleep in the day, away when we can.
That's a true story. Because I think I wrote this, I had slept for like 23 hours straight or something like that, because I was up for the past 23, 24 hours. Probably bullshitting, partying in college. It's like I was a little too friendly, you know. So I had to get unfriendly on this song. I was wrong, that's why I was gone. And now that I know where I belong, I'm only back to say goodbye, so long. So acting as a normal mortal, so misremembering. I had my first friend in me, remembering I am my own person. My hook started coming in there. I started learning how to write better hooks. This is why I started repeating myself in the hooks. So I think I was 18 here.
That little.
Oh yeah. The synth.
Yeah. That shit's hard.
Are you talking about the inflection, the vocal inflection, or the synth, the beat? Oh, okay. Yeah. Mistaken has that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. That's what I can show you. People are talking about that one. Talking about giving what you don't have yourself. You don't just give your heart to like just anybody. Really talking about self-preservation. This is when I started developing the themes, philosophies, ideas of self-preservation. You know. I am my own worst enemy. Can it be a sense of purpose which urges it? Just me against the wilderness? I have my first friend of me. I am my own worst enemy. It is so egotistical. I think by this time I started listening to Kanye. Because I think this next song is this song here, as bad as it is. This is the only song, at least to this point here, is 2023. It's May 2nd now, 2023, at the time of this filming. This is the only song that I've released that I've actually produced myself. And you can tell that. You can tell nobody else produced it but me. You know, but we were learning production back in the dorms back in the day at TAMU-CC. And yeah, we got like Fruity Loops, like a bootleg version of Fruity Loops, and started working it and everything. All things considered, I think it could sound worse. I mean, it's not like great or anything like that, but it had some elements in it. You know, the engineer definitely did his thing, mess with my vocals and everything like that. I was proud of it at the time. I've been producing. Again, I haven't released anything yet at the time of this recording. But I'm much better now than I was back then as a producer. But it kind of gives me Yeezus vibes, Kanye West Yeezus vibes, you know. But you'll be able to hear like how egotistical this song is as well. Similar themes to Rehabilitation.
heard Greek mythologies, creature flies with these irresponsibly. Testing these supposed to be economically, ethically, emotionally, even logically. The truths are over your head, you don't know what I said. Mortals are a bunch of idiots. Thought you knew what true love really is. I'm worthy of the phoenix. Who can accomplish these the genius? Once again, other than the cosmic phoenix. All the breeds is fire, why the world lost the pieces. All it needs is freedoms. Some uniqueness from you common heathens.
I just kind of get this imagery of like a bird just like flying through the air with this song. I like the Phoenix from Marvel Comics. It's kind of what I envision.
It's not the same A.O. and retentive. Ain't no inexpensive pocket change. I'd rather hurt the person than fuck the earth. What is worth nothing. Only stuff worse than that would be getting squashed by my personality. Who can accomplish these genius? Once again, other than the cosmic phoenix. All the breeds is fire.
Started developing some texture, you know, the songwriting, some personality. I developed a personality from the beginning of the project to the end. A whole new personality.
So it's a sin to use my name in vain. Why no, I don't quite know when to quit. So tell me, I don't get the hint. Say you don't go to then to get your own leg. You meant so, maybe I do. I'm so infinite, there's no limit, and I cannot tell a lie to you when even my lies are true. Who can accomplish this genius once again other than the cosmic?
This is probably the best engineering. I think Frank, engineer at the time, he was in his bag on this one. I think he really liked the production of it. He even asked me who produced it. I remember that. And I said proudly, me. OMA Productions.
The truth is, the truth with humans has got to cancel. I am the Phoenix. I am the Phoenix. I am the Phoenix. I am the Phoenix.
Dang, that's funny.
He wanted me to kind of go like a little extra on that part. That wasn't even part of the song. Okay, so I definitely need to address this one here. So this song here is called Legacy Lost. This is probably the heaviest song like on the whole project, I think. It's really addressing my relationship with my parents, primarily my dad. I was conflicted as to whether or not to release the song, but I feel like it's, you know, and not to cheapen or diminish the value of my relationship, you know, with my parents. But I think it's essential for other parents, people, you know, who are bringing children in this world, you know, for them to have in perspective of the impact and influence that they have, you know, on their children, whether it's like their personal desires and projections in various capacities. I think this is important, you know. And me and my dad, we have an amazing relationship, you know. Now we do disagree on quite a few things, you know, maybe not as bad, honestly, as maybe it could be. I know a lot of people are dealing with things that are way worse, you know, but I just felt like this was important. I feel like there's more to say here. I'm just kind of drawing a blank right now. But yeah, the song itself, the instrumental was Del the Funky Homo Sapiens 3030, or Deltron. You know, classic title track, kind of gives those dystopian vibes to it. Interesting fact, fun fact, I was actually considering using this instrumental for Tales from the Dark Side of the Moon and vice versa, you know, so that would have been interesting. There would have been two totally different songs, you know. But yeah, this is Legacy Lost. I guess I'll address things as they come up here. Some of this is kind of tough to listen to. It's like I don't
creates son, father begets son, son begets father. This is how the story goes, or so I'm told.
So-
A little something.
This song is really about, you know, you have like dreams and ambitions that are forced onto you and like shoved down your throat, you know, and just really rejecting like a lot of those philosophies, you know. Not everything is meant for you, you know. You don't have to keep everything, you know, in your life, you know. So yeah, that's what a lot of this song is about. You know.
You stop it?
No, just on bullshit right now. No, looking for an escape. Second here. Great. Interesting. Okay. All right, let's get this show on the road.
Like this, yo, as a raisin, I've been burnt to a raisin. In the raisins, raised once. Let me explain some. Back in the day when young man chose a mate purposely to go to make God and sanction to do so. But why would you go to play God a lot? Ain't God good enough to do what was not satisfied with God's sacrifice? They got to do it over. Couldn't just jot that advice down that should you touch what's God's, it's gotta have a price. Would you once found out after thrice? Now as the time passes by, it's not super surprising. After you circumcised me as you do for a time being, you must have liked me too for the time being. Who had a clue? That's the truth underlying. Before you had a boot to my hiney. What did I do for you to despise me? You should advise me to be a better kid. But if you don't love me as I am, you never did. I love you to death, but when your life ends, I don't expect to live the rest of it. Cause disappointing life's course, I live the pointless life, yours, not my own. But if the choice is like yours, good God, I won't have disappointed by force. I'm scorned, but why your then second seed find your acceptance instead of me? Am I your eyesore? Perfected Jesus in the flesh of cyborg. What's a P for the death of me to my poor? Nothing's left for me except to leave from my source, especially his legacy to die for.
I think this was pretty succinct, pretty precise in what I was saying. You know, I don't think I actually need any commentary on that first verse, the first hook. I think it's pretty much self-explanatory, honestly. It just really kind of speaks for itself. Maybe there's some other things here that I might have to add some additional context in, but yeah.
How could my greatest benefactor have been a factor of my anguish? Am I to avenge the great sins of my parents before I perish? The aim is for the apprentice to vanquish his apparitions, to make his aimless existence apparent. Easier to say this when doing it is dangerous. Violence was used to silence us, but such ain't a risk, because enough water underneath breaks the bridge, and the channel's so stuffed upstream to make an example for us must mean the last straw. Back of the camel's broke, puffing hard. The things y'all wanna stop holding my hand, then don't. Cause if I bit the hand that fed me off, that'd make me a fucking cannibal. I'm a damn adult, right? Thanks to you, why can't you recognize my final obstacle left in life's not for you? The light bulb's got to screw me over less than my first steps out of your shadows, cause confrontation's after the battle. Since the disappointed life's course, I get the pointless life yours, not my own. But if the choice is like yours, good God, I won't have disappointed by force. I'm scorned, why you're then second seed, find your.
This reminds me of a couple of things. There's this one line where I say you have to step out of the shadow. You know, you can't live your life in somebody else's shadow. You know, you have to live your own life. You know, and that's still a very relevant theme in my life and all the music that I create. You know, then there's the line, confrontation is half of the battle. I remember Frank, you know, the engineer, he addressed that. He's like, he needed that. You know, some people touch people in different ways, you know.
why, Pops? I've got to give you your props for dealing with your mom's BS. But ain't the better way to repay the favor is to make things on me less. But hey, even though I honor you, I'm on to you, honestly. I'm sure just like you're on to me. This ain't no prophecy, anomaly, but I've got to see for myself. What is this God to me? If God indeed, if my soul is not empty, is it selfish to give up the light of a life you're living? If you're giving it to the helpless, you probably respond, hell yes. If it's not of the monetary realm, it's not for me. Well shit, what do you know? It went in one ear and out the other, cause what do you know? Lock your seat belt and helmets as if on a bumpy ride, cause the
really choppy flow.
What we like all the time.
I like what I'm saying and the substance and the lyrics, but the delivery could be better.
Possibly not to make omelets, we've got to be willing to break some eggs. So I've got to leave this legacy that I've got to leave. Hell, I bet Jesus himself does not believe that.
Again, listening to a lot of Eminem. Eminem, Del the Funky Homo Sapien, Cannabis. Variety of interesting influences here.
Your eyes soar, perfected Jesus and the flesh a cyborg. What's a P for the death of me to my Lord? Nothing's left of me except to leave from my source, especially his legacy to die for. It's destiny. I can already feel the effects of the pedigree hex of me lessening. Yeah. You and I both know what happens when salt loses its taste. I know we've had our differences, but this has gone too far for far too long. We keep butting heads, but in the end that just makes us butt heads. I'm but a product of your own doing.
I knew you'd like that one.
Created a monster.
I was waiting for it.
Like son.
You like that one, huh?
It's into the past.
That's what we'll make quote.
Things will never be the same.
But no. Lost in Space. This was, objectively speaking, this is probably one of, if not the best songs on the project. Yeah, I think it still appeals to a very big audience. It has a decent chorus, hook.
Lost in Space.
Cool vibe to it.
Who am I? If I am lost, time you can't price, but you can't deny the cost.
It really embodies who I am. Has a good flow. Just listening to, like, again, Eminem, Cannabis, Del the Funky Homo Sapien.
Nothing to grasp hold to, nothing that must hold true. Practically, nothing that you won't do. In that case, forget what they told you. The more we learn what it's like to be born, deformed and reborn, the more you won't be torn between doors, and be sure you aren't on the detour. As motherboard,
Then right there, Detour was born.
Plead for you to get with the program. You go stand your own lane.
And that bar and that line, that's when I decided this section of the project will be called Detour.
I've crossed in the world of cyclones.
I really like this hook. You might hear it in another song somewhere, some version.
Nowhere to turn, cause I roam they high roads wage, which I don't face. It's hard to find those places of refuge. I dwell there, accuse myself instead. I refuse to lose myself and lose my head. How can you be
Probably has some of the best audio quality on the project too.
Go shoot through the stars to see, learn, journey. Departure forgot to consider it's a harder journey. Back in the street, not returning. Either way, you never forget the scars you're earning on your face. So face it now, while spacing out, pacing around, breaking down. No gaining ground without pain and doubt. Waiting how long besides sustaining doubt, maintaining the doubt where no one's upstairs. Even if I cried, no one could hear the screams or the slow run of tears. So I don't much care if my ass just stays on the sofa, just there as I wait to pass away. After all, I'm going nowhere fast, they say. I'm lost in a world of my own. I've crossed.
I think I started listening to Kendrick around this time too. Kendrick and Tyler the Creator. I think they were starting to come out around this time.
Know where to turn, cause I roam they high roads wage, which I don't face. It's hard.
I don't think they really had too much influence on the project, but I'm starting to get into them. Starting to listen to Lil Wayne, different influences.
I don't know just what to do. Oh, but once I do, you would be the first to know. Taken by the depths of the deep side effects were irreversible. I invest in the need to critique the world's by the best, but see the worst of both. Burst of both. When this glass is by the fence, they were for show. Yes, they were for show. Of course, should have known sooner. In order to go, you turn to come home. Out there you stumble, out on your own. It's good to know you've hung on to decide what's wisest. When I combine identity lifeless of identity crisis, cause my identity's life.
I think that's some of the best rhyme schemes on the song for sure. Probably the project.
When to search for my home, why not? It's begin to merge, but I don't know where to turn, cause I roam the high roads which I don't face. It's hard to find those places. Refuge I dwelled and recuse myself instead. I refuse to lose myself and lose my head. This is where I go, this is where I stand.
I like this part
This
too.
is all I know, this is who I am.
You might hear this on another song.
This is where I go, this is where I
We
stand.
were using lyrics out here.
This is who I am.
Lyrics are all
This is
original.
where I go, this is where I stand. This is all I know, this is who I am.
No shame.
This is where I go, this is where I stand. This is all I know, this is who I am.
I think there's a little bit of a pause here, if I'm not mistaken. For some reason, there's like some space at the end of the beat. Maybe we cut some of it out. The next song, I think, is technically the last song on the project, but we did like maybe two more after this. Yeah, just to fill in some space. Yeah. Eternal Darkness. This is technically the last song, but we had a bonus track. 2 bonus tracks, maybe.
Oh, man.
Technically. So interesting, before we get into this one, I had asked the homie, Christian at the time. He was like my #1 fan. He actually he's the one that gave me the title One Who May Ascend. You know, if you don't know. It was like, yeah, #1 fan. Shout out to the homie. He's getting married this year and everything like that. Gonna go reunite with him and everything in Texas later this year. But so I was just going by OMA, you know, because those are the initials of my name, you know, Omari Malik Amin. So that's what I was going by, OMA. He was like, One Who May Ascend. And I was like, yo, that's dope. And so I took it and I ran with it. And then that's why, here we are today. OMA, One Who May Ascend. But I asked him, what should the last track of the song be? And it was between this instrumental and another instrumental. And the other one was like so dark. So dark. But I was really talking about the same subject matter. And I'm glad he went with this one, because this one is much more positive. It's much more lighthearted, high note, if you will, to end the record. So I'm glad he went with that one. Great choice, Christian. Shout out to Christian. How about you?
Perception, refusing to move in the direction, illuminating us, expecting answers your question.
I like the rhyme scheme on this one too.
And once the question, momentum for the box of Pandora, no one could close it up for a moment, temporarily. So it's the moment of truth sparingly. Use your wits to wager your favorite debate.
I like the flow too.
How come? Well, come on now, son. If I seek answers, let's not be naive. Now we like to think, so searching isn't the blessing. Oh, curse it is, of course it is. The coarseness essentially proves what your purpose is meant to be. Assess your worthless existence, eventually ascending me infinitely with perseverance mentally. Why? Well, to be honest,
as you can see, we've come a long way.
If there's anything that I've learned in your pen, is there anything acquired for granted? Cause nothing comes easy usually, but we think
Must be me.
what we see's eternal darkness. Internal dark is necessary to assess the environment.
If I'm confined in it.
Comprehending enlightening upon defining it is my intent. Defining this temporary darkness in spite of it to find some light. There inherently are times you stay forever clouded in the dark and be lost and never found it. Feels like I'm headed down trips each dark road till I reach our globe. We call home. We are broke with these false hopes that the result can't be our fault, and we are for positivity, the best, but all of it would be BS.
Basically talking about toxic positivity.
In the bad light with the black light flashlight.
You know, if you only focus on the bright side of things, you know, you're not seeing the full picture.
One way or another, someday for the other.
Think about what you don't know.
If nothing else, expect that. So take a step back, hold 6 of setbacks. Don't take the way you come to make a fake path. No matter how vain, it'll come to pass. Because if there's anything that I've learned in your planet, is there anything acquired for granted? Cause nothing comes easy usually, but we think must be me. What we see's eternal darkness. Internal dark is necessary to assess the environment. If I'm confined in it, comprehending enlightening upon defining it is my intent. Defining this temporary darkness in spite of it to find some light in it. Yeah. There's a lot of darkness out
I think
there.
that was only 2 verses.
Get
This
to you,
might be,
let it. But I fear the
if
dark
I'm not
more.
mistaken.
After all, there be no darkness without light. There may not be a happy ending, but I've come to understand that happiness is the direction.
Because we
not a
didn't start
destination.
writing songs with 2 verses until college. Like after
I guess I'll
Detour,
see you on the other side of the dark
you
side
can see
of the
people's
moon.
attention span started shortening. Did a little Bruce Lee kick thing. I don't know why. What inspired me to do that at the time? I think I was watching like maybe Return of the Dragon or something. Some Bruce Lee film. I'm sure. So this next track I think is just really bullshit. I think so. I think this is the
Listen.
Silence. Yeah.
Oh, you're
Here we
missing
go.
it.
Silence is a powerful voice, and it's just like 2 minutes of static. It was supposed to be like just a quiet track, but the homie, the engineer Frank, he was like, "What if we put some static in it?" I was like, "Sure," but silence is a powerful voice. The idea on this song, I just really wanted people to meditate and think, you know, to themselves, and you know, study their own thoughts. You know, I think people need that. I think I want to incorporate that in some of my concerts. You know, just have like a moment of silence to think about your own thoughts. You know, a lot of people don't meditate like I feel people should, you know. So that's all this song was. I feel like it works very well with the whole theme of ascending and outer space and everything, you know, because it's quiet in space. You know, it's not even any static. You know, probably should just went silent. You know, but and then it grows, it gets louder, static gets louder. It's only like a minute or 2 long, but I thought it was interesting here. I remember I had one friend, Ramsey, shout out to Ramsey. He listened to the whole thing thinking he was actually gonna miss something. And he was low-key pissed, he was upset, you know. He's like, I listened to that whole thing and the whole thing is just static. You know, so now you know, don't listen to this song. But the next song is called Psychic Hotline, and that one's just kind of like all the way out. It was a bonus track. It wasn't like on the original, you know, project. I think this was deluxe version. Maybe About That Life was on the deluxe version too. If anybody still has their copies of Ascending, I actually don't have any more copies, so make sure you hold on to that. It might be worth something one day, you know. But Psychic Hotline is the next song. Just really being like really obnoxious. I had come to my full-fledged. Oh, and there's a lyric video of that song as well. I was on my full-fledged like Eminem
Did you get all that?
influence by this
guess
point at Psychic
sometimes
Hotline. This next song,
Silence could be a powerful voice.
I think it ended up being like one of my more popular ones at the time too. So you can hear it. Very heavy, significant Eminem influence on this.
Hello, is this the psychic hotline? Hell no, I am not fine, not dime. Disinterested, thinking about rhythm and reason in my off time. I've stopped trying to figure life out.
Went back to forgetting how to write hooks.
Your personality who goes bursting out of me. It just goes to show your mentality, your analogy of life.
Really good flow though. Very good flow.
It's actually more like a
definitely more developed by this point.
Screwed it up, just don't screw it up. But if that's how the shit shed out, you get that brown big crap while you stay full of shit that's foul. Cut the chit chat now. Look at me like, how dare you? And then I'll tear you a new one. I'd be scared too. They got some real crazies out there, cuckoo nuts, cocoa for cuckoo buffs. The things they do now sick me, but they need one more coat of grease and a peel, banana peel to outslick me. Hello, is it the psychic hotline? Hell no, I am not fine, not fine. Disinterested, thinking about rhythm and reason in my off time. I've stopped trying to figure life out. I'm not lying. I've lost the needle in my side since I side with common people.
Flow's kind of sick.
With them rarely sharing the basic similarities, all in equal. Often evil, not half that, 49%, not all that bad. But how much longer can I take shit? If life was a bitch by now, I would have raped it. Taking a lick to the basement, asking for what and she was to take it while I tape it. For my personal entertainment. And I'm educated, clever enough to sever and stuff the body in the cellar to properly dispose.
Oh yeah, and I was listening to a lot of Hopsin too.
Afterwards I will be a remorse.
Hopsin and Eminem.
They're more true, more often than not. If I'm coming for you, I don't knock. I'm gon' walk into your dorm room. If you're there or not, I'd scare the snot out suckers like the nightmare you thought I was. Unless you sleep deprived, each day you wake up is one less to be alive. So most of us need peace of mind. If I had any left, I'd give you a peace of mind. She's this guy's crazy, who knows why he hasn't dealt with psychiatric help. Hello, is this the psychic hotline? Hell no, I am not fine.
Yeah, I don't really do this kind of style anymore. I think it's like played out. You know. Not even really interested.
Similarities all in equal off evil. Not half that, 49%, not all that bad. But not everything's copacetic, I can't cope with headaches. As a youngin', I was jumping Mr. Bed, hit my head in the stead. The doctor then said, I don't know how the hell he
I did hit my head jumping on the bed.
The mama's glad I has a baby while she cut embalm cadavers. Is all of that the reason I bring a knife to a gunfight and why you should run like the bitch you are to me? I split an arm or 3 slit your arteries, rip apart your feet and strip your heart for free. If you charge a fee, a partly need for man Smith and Wessons. I've done these more than myth and legend.
That was like everybody's favorite part at like live shows when that part just cut out of the beat.
I be wiping my hiney while being urine slow. Allow me to pause disturb, my conscience disturbed. Damned if I clean turds and bowls, sanitizing urinals as a germaphobe. Bickering about degrees.
The chorus is supposed, the hook is supposed to be right here.
Did I yearn for? When I lose it in the first degree, you're in no position to listen.
I just ran through it.
After asking me what you're about. Fuck the carousel. Hello, this is that hotline. Hell no, I've stopped trying. You don't mind, it don't matter. You don't matter, I don't mind. It's only a matter of time before I take matters in my own hand. I've got some problem, but I've mentioned all them. Oh, and my cock don't fit the condoms I got from my old man. So can you buy lots of the ones I got so I can get rid of all them? Why?
Why not?
Why not?
No?
No? Damn.
And that concludes the best of OMA Ascending at the time. You know, let me know y'all's thoughts, comments, how it's aged over the years. I have my personal sentiments towards it. If I were to rank it, I mean, I know what we're capable of, especially not just development of thought, but sonically, you know, lyrically, intentionality. You know, it's nowhere compared to where we are now today, thankfully. You know, and life should be like that, you know. It's a progression, you know. So if you're still in the same spot you were like 10 years ago, shit, life ain't going as you planned, you feel me? So, yeah. How would I rank this? Man. I think, I mean, at the time, you know, for what I was capable, I think I'd probably rank it about a 5, 6. Light, you know, not, yeah, about that. Especially at the time, you know, it was my potentially like best work at the time. You know, but like I said, we're way beyond that now. So I'm just looking forward to what's new. You know, we have a lot to look forward to. I appreciate you all for being on the journey. It's been a minute. Let me know what y'all think. How would y'all rate the song? What are y'all most looking forward to for, you know, the next 10 years or so? Appreciate you all for tuning in today. Other than that, I am OMA, one who may ascend. We're going all the way up. Hasta the guy.